history of us casting Execration, every time there's a new patch, these guys look amazing. I feel like Execration's one of those teams where they just find the broken stuff a lot faster than other teams. And I want to say that because I think it might be a closer game than we expect initially, John.
I mean, you're seeing it from Shanks now, right? He goes for the tree dance, Simian Stride. He's already just jumping around like a maniac all the way.
How is this
on
balanced?
his top jungle?
How is this balanced?
Yeah, it's really funny. It's so fun.
Funny to
I know
who,
a lot of my Monkey Paws 4 players, the Monkey Paws 4 players love it. Look what they can do.
Oh,
just jump across the map, willy-nilly. Yeah, it's hilarious. Can snipe a courier or two as well.
This is so stupid. I mean, I'm not talking. I get the tree
amazing.
part, but the tree jumping crowd, that's too much. Oh, that's a deep ward. I mean, he really does want those couriers. He really, I mean, he's going for the couriers, John. He's got the ward out already.
Yeah, and he's still setting up for maybe a bounty rune snag as well, although it does look like he might be a little bit too late, still in position.
The battle begins.
See if they can fully commit. No, they're going to be able to get away with it. Still a 2 for 2. See if that value comes in for Shanks. I mean, if you commit that early ward, you've got to snipe these couriers. There's no two ways about it. And a stalled out timing, maybe a rotation onto when Abed gets enough gold for the bottle. That could be really impactful on that mid matchup.
Oh, it's
We'll have
huge.
to see.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, John. I think it literally. Oh, look at this, John. Bottom lane. He's got the courier already, but I think you made a good point. I think it literally is all about the Earth Spirit bottle that you're really looking for. Though, in fairness, he just left Gabby with 0 regen, so that's pretty impactful in and of its own right.
That it is. And that bot lane, again, is not going to be the simplest process for Gabby. Centaur versus Razor matchup doesn't feel great. A bot already has a static link up. And Gabby, you know, he's just going to have to cop it out. Wait until maybe level 2, level 3, until maybe at least 1 null. It does look like he's bypassing the null build-up altogether. He has gone for Counter-Strike facet as well. So I think this is the first time you and I have casted a game with a Centaur without the horsepower.
Oh.
So he is going to need boots. But that double-edge damage, it is really bursty, especially once the shard is up. So I do like seeing this from Gabby.
Oh, it's a lot of damage. You can't underestimate it at all, and Gabby's going to actually move in right away. Not to Den's Zanity, though. Den's is going to turn back around on Tims, who might just be going down here. Tims, 1 hit away, eats the Fairy Fire. Den's, oh, he can't get enough, but CML's got him. CML barely securing the kill on the Crystal Maiden. Does get away with the first blood gold, and poor old Den's, he was like 1 HP away from securing that himself, but nevertheless, Execration still do get.
And that is the troubles of this lane for Blacklist. Not much you can really do to shove the Razor fully away unless he overcommits. Let's see how Gabby tries to repair that. You still have Shanks just camping top.
He missed the
He
bottle.
sniped 2 couriers now. He missed the bottle, but he's making this offlane hellish for Gabby, which I like as a play from Shanks, because it does feel like with Blacklist, Gabby's lane has been important. Up top, they have sacked Tino's lane, though.
Tino going down, a very big kill there for Natsumi. Happy days already for the position 1 TB. He will find the courier eventually, so he does get it. But I think had you got an Arbet's bottle, that would have really just ruined the early game of the Earth Spirit, because bottle's just so important when you're playing roaming Earth Spirit from the mid lane. But it's luckily for Arbet, he'll get away with it. Again, had he denied it for a few minutes, like at that level 6 marks the 6 mark per se, then you probably could get a lot more impact out of the rotations of this Monkey King. But you know, for now, I guess he's doing a good job. Problem is, John, he's just not laning. Like, he's just still stuck at level 1 here on this MK.
Stuck at level 1. He's set top lane. Tino one time at all. The pressure is overwhelming as long as they have this metamorphosis up. There's really no to play for Tino whatsoever. So that is the sacrifice you're making for all of these courier snipes. At the very least, again, you didn't manage to find a bottle mid, but by its nature of the Pangolier versus Earth Spirit, Lewis is having a great time up against Abed. Just pressuring nicely, did go for the double jump on the shield crash as well, so has a little bit more to pump out when Abed does go within range. And is managing it quite nicely. Maybe a rotation down the line, but no, Shanks is still just hunting couriers.
What is he doing? Can we look
all
at
the couriers?
Abed's about to die. Shanks, in the meantime, still in the base, looking for that TV courier, is eventually going to get it. Here's my thing. Like, you get the couriers, okay, fair enough, but at what point does this MK just not be a hero? Like what is this? Well, what's he doing? the couriers
Think of
can't
the
be worth this.
economic impact. I mean, it's like 25, 30, 35 gold each to everyone. It's pretty impactful, right?
So
You're
how is this allowed? Like, there's a tree in the fountain and nothing happens.
I don't know if you're supposed to spend 4 minutes in this position, but if he's not, oh, he might get this boots of Abed. No, it's going back. Shit.
What did I tell you? It's always execration. They always find the dumbest things.
Unfortunately for Shanks, he's less than 90% HP, so the tree dance is going to be a lot slower. But hey, sniping couriers, you know, he's doing his job.
He's got a ring of regen just in case this happens, John. Don't worry. 1.25 HP regen. You'll be back at any moment. But bot lane, Tims is dead again. No, we're gonna have a secondary kill coming in. I don't know what to tell you. All we've done is talk about this Monkey King this whole game. That's all we've done.
That's all that matters at this point. I mean, once Shanks has trampled, you know, this will last forever. I don't know to stop this guy.
He hasn't got 1
He's
point of
just
XP.
I mean, how do you think Tino feels right now? It's like, oh, my Monkey King sniping curse. I'm in lane being shoved between tier 1, tier 2 by a Terrorblade and a Weaver, and I can't do anything. But my Monkey King sniping couriers.
Oh, dude. If if he comes back to the lane, I would lose my crap. You can't come back at level 1. CML, he can't get a frostbite out. He'll eventually get one onto Natsumi, and Natsumi just absolutely melts. That's a big kill. Execration doing great work finding the Terrorblade. I'll tell you what, don't go, Shanks, you can't come back. Get out of here.
He's here.
No, you can't.
He's here.
Get out. If that was my Monkey King, I'd be on the mic straight away. Michelle's gonna be okay. Shanks cannot come back. He's almost level 2 of being there for about a second.
Tino?
Tino?
He should just stay level 1, see how long it can last.
Tino's gonna TP away, back to the fountain, walk of shame for the Lycan. Tino's having a great old time here as bottom lane, Gabby almost dying to Dens, though Dens is dropping quite low himself on the Razor, but he's going to be alright to back his way out. It's like Shanks is going to have a look to see if Abed wants to donate some XP, but Abed says, no sir, you can get the hell out of there. Let's roll in. Lewis, he'll find a regen room for himself in this Pangali. We're going to run into CML now. So they're grouping up down a bottom lane here, Jonathan. Shanks is here with his level 1 tree dance available whenever. Is going to commit it onto Tims. Tims is not about to die, but yes he is. He's gone.
What? He
Shanks will take
Shanks?
He dies to Shanks.
And he's still level 1! He's still level 1! I can't. I mean, to be fair, Shanks is doing a lot, right? Like, it's a lot of resources wasted. He's making Abed roll back just to get his courier still dies. How many couriers? I wish we could track this. It's a lot of couriers. 7 couriers. That's at least like.
Oh, Tims!
That is so much. That's so much gold.
Tims is dead again, I think here, John. Gabby's caught down. Tims is in trouble. Execration so far being very aggressive as CML ignores Tims altogether. Will rush the Wisdom Rune instead, but Abed's going to be there to cut him off. So now CML going to find himself in danger because Abed's around the corner. Sadly, though, Rolling Bolt is on cooldown, so he will not be able to keep up. Does at least get the Wisdom Rune for himself. Even gets a nice little bottle.
That's actually huge.
From Gabby. It is.
No Wisdom Runes between Shanks. Well, he finally hits level 2, soaking up mid, but they actually needed those Wisdom Runes on Execration just to have this Monkey King have more than just 3 dance. Still, I love the impact of Shanks, right? It's forcing all of these more awkward rolls from Abed just to stop this Monkey King. It's forcing them to kind of watch their top, watch their base for a tree walking around. It cuts off some region. The bot lane goes a lot better for Dens than it would without these courier snipes as it keeps going. My god. Gabby?
He's going to break a record. Gabby bottom lane, going to go down again. So now this safe lane Razor Jar, then Zanity's having an amazing game. 1-0-4 already as mid lane Abed will go down. 7-1 already for the side of Execration. 8 minutes in, 7-1. Maybe the courier's dying this often. Maybe it's made that big of a difference. I mean, they're already 3k ahead.
I think it has. It really has. I mean,
Oh
cutting
my
off all
God.
these resources down bot again just allows all of this winning for a bot. And just 7, 10, once you hit 10 couriers, right, that's 350 gold each.
What?
That you're getting at around that ballpark, right? It's 35 gold at the higher level couriers. Earlier on, it's like 25 per courier for everyone, right? So it's a ton of gold to feed out onto everybody. And, or at least to feed out into the Monkey King, so he's scaling up. Yes, he has ranks. He can keep this game going forever now. And you're basically playing, what, 4v5 in lanes? And you're still having a good time outside of Tino?
Oh, Tims! Oh, Tims! He's gotten the Lycan treatment, Jonathan. My favorite. Just died of the creep waves. As Abed, trying to roll away, runs right into the creeps, and, well, there's no escape for him, I don't think. Abed just gonna melt to the damage output. Shanks, don't you dare try to take that kill. Xiao's gonna go for the kill onto the MK. Shanks should be dead, but we'll try for a TP play out. Oh, and he's made it. They can't kill him. They can't kill this Monkey King. I can't believe it.
He's 1-0-1. He's sniped a lot of couriers, and oh my god, he's having so much impact. You're starting to come back now as well to Tino because of all of the movement across the map. He's managed to at least buy out the full Dominator. He's microing his wolves well to find these kills. I think 9-2 start for Execration, 10 minutes in. It's a really strong start, especially with how early on these heroes scale. Like, we're talking about Razor, talking to Pango, who just needs a couple of items up. It's going to feel pretty overwhelming for Blacklist, especially since Natsumi, again, his farming pace is going to be held back just by virtue of how terribly it works now.
I mean, the state of the game is, it just feels so bad for Blacklist. Like, Abed's just not taking off at all. He's 0-2-0 right now on the Earth Spirit. Like, this is just a horrendous start for Blacklist rivalry. Lewis is almost 2 levels ahead of that mid-Earth Spirit, by the way. And speaking of Lewis, they are rotating down bottom, just trying to shut down Gabby on the Centaur once again. Gabby does have Stampede, so he should be able to find a way out. But they'll pop the Frostbite, they'll pop all the spells, and never mind what I said. Never mind. They've got plenty of damage. Gabby will die for the 3rd time already.
Execration are just very coordinated to play around their strongest here on that Razor. They take tier 1. A bit of a smoke play out from Blacklist, trying to abuse this weaker lane. Right to find Tino. Doesn't have mana to really get anything done here.
They're going to try for the Lycan. He's not the easiest target to take down, but they will give it a crack as Tino's running right towards him, in fact, into the Brambles maze. And eventually, Tino, he will die. You saw how long that took them. You know, it's kind of the thing, like, that was a long time for 3 heroes to deal with a Lycan.
And it is. And Tino is still microing well. Sends the Wolves down mid, along with the Dark Troll Summoner. Siege another tower in the span of a minute and a half. Execration have opened up the map quite well. And again, this is going to be a big challenge for Natsumi in terms of just his farming pace. You know, he can't just push out these waves. He is going to have to stick in the jungle. It's going to be a lot slower for the Terrorblade in comparison to the illusion spam for free pushes. You're, again, hitting this early spike now for Execration. You've got the Echo Saber fully done on Lewis. A little bit more of a nice build-up, I think, in terms of chasing. Like, the Echo Strike is going to play quite nicely and just getting some burst damage off. You've got the early Yasha for a bot into a BKB, into a Manta. Going to be fully set to frontline for his team once that's done. They are starting to collapse onto this location, though, even dragging Natsumi in for a bot.
Why the hell not? You've got to kill this Razor. The bot getting caught out eventually should just drop and will. Natsumi to take the kill on the TB is going to feel very good. Meanwhile, Abed is going to find Shanks. Shanks still dropping through the tree line. Should be able to get away just in a moment. As Abed has to...
He did get damage.
That's your mid-Earth Spirit, by the way, against the Monkey King who didn't even lane in this game 1. So, yeah, that's something, huh, John? What a great hero Earth Spirit is.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm loving what Shanks is doing to Execration. They still find a big kill. Don't get me wrong. Killing off the bot, killing off the Insanity is huge, but they might be able to get decent punish. They can catch someone out, not going to be able to catch Zhao, a little bit too slippery. And they're not able to fully push. They did take top tier 1. But again, Tino's lane was always weaker. The bot tier 1 still hanging on. Does mean you still have all of this free space for everyone to still farm up. You still have some catch-up room to go. Tino, Overlord, already has the recipe. Just needs a little bit more. and does have the full Overlord up. So your Lycan is still at a decent timing despite that slower start. In fact, it's Gabby and Abed that really have suffered from all of these shenanigans. They're at least 2k behind, and that's Tino in a solo lane up against 2, dying twice in lane. Like, that is not good news for Blacklist, but excellent news for Execration, who again have played this early game to perfection. Like, I don't know what Shank's been doing in the past few months, but this Monkey King, this is the most perfect Monkey King game we've seen.
It's a lot of couriers. He's done a lot of work. I mean, as much as you and I laughed about it for the last 10 minutes, he's done a lot of work here for this team. It works. This is literally peak Dota right now. You might not like it, but this is what peak Dota looks like right here. A tree being moved around on the map is all we have now in Dota 2. Love to see it.
Yeah, you've got a rock that can't hit a moving tree, Mike.
That's true.
It just doesn't work.
No. Wouldn't work in Nature, John. Doesn't work in Dota 2. You know, we're very accurate here. Arbit's been trying his best to put the impact in, but he is literally just a rock. That's all he can do. Look
again, this is concerning for Blacklist because you could consider it's a space for Natsumi, but look at this farming pace. Normally at this point you'd see the Terrorblade start to inch away a little bit further. This damage penalty on the illusions just, it doesn't feel great. Even with the Manta, they'll still take the penalty. So again, like this fast ramp up for Natsumi, it's not really there. He's barely 900 gold ahead of Lewis, who is just rushing into the Axe.
They're going onto a bot, but he's a bit too tanky and Arbed. I mean, he's the one who gets left behind. He would at least get to roll away, just barely. I could have sworn Shanks blocked him with that tree dance and Primal Spring in, but apparently not quite. So Arbed does get away just barely. But man, that's just so sad to watch. Like, that's your mid player just getting absolutely wrecked as soon as he rolls in.
That's rough for Abed, at least with a Blade Mail. Maybe he can reflect some of that burst damage back. Still, the avenues of play for Blacklist are limited. Like, they've got this double Blade Mail timing up. It does feel like they'll need the blink on Gabby before anything else can really proceed. You're very close to finishing up the full Spirit Vessel and Zhao, at least. So you will have some ways to just kind of mitigate some of the healing or some of the tankiness that these heroes have, soften them up a little bit more for the burst. They are starting to make inways down bot. They are cutting off this farming spot, but Exa hasn't really played here in a while.
Poor old CML. This does get caught out. It's something Blacklist desperately do need is some easy pickoffs here, and they do get it. Natsumi able to pick off another one here on the TB, and it is going to open up that bottom tier 2 tower for the side of Blacklist Rivalry. But they are still playing ultra cautiously here, Blacklist. They won't commit all the way. Metamorphosis still had a long duration for Natsumi, but they decide better of it. They'll just let some illusions and a siege creep do the work. It will be defended eventually here by Execration, but it seems as though Blacklist, they kind of understand, they just don't want the fight at the moment. You know, they're taking the free tower damage while they can, but in terms of fighting, they are well and truly going to fall behind. So there's just no worth in it.
Yeah, I think this is a fine style for Blacklist. Hit and run, find a freebie support kill, considering how far behind you are early. I mean, just killing off CML gave them 294 plus 420 gold. It's a significant amount, considering that's just literally a pos 5 Crystal Maiden. So you are catching up slowly but surely, and you're still at a 4k deficit, but you've cleared out the map. You've pressured a tier 2 down to 660 HP. You can keep this invasion down bot, and you can try to just avoid the wider pick-off game that Execration has been playing. They are still about to hit their spikes here on Execration, of course. The BKB for Dead Santi isn't too far off, and so is the Ags for Lewis. So they will have better tools to stand up front now, although CML again.
Gonna get the Earth Spirit treatment here as the Crystal Maiden. The one thing Arbed can do is kill off CML at the moment, so that's about all he can do right now, and that's exactly what he will do. So he will get the tip here from Gabby. Mid-tier 1 tower is going to remain protected by Execration, but Blacklist, I think, are doing a very good job of just taking all the attention away of Natsumi, and Natsumi is still top of the net worth board, so it's kind of one of those full protect 1 situations where every other lane's gone really badly, and so it's all up to Natsumi on this TB to make the big fight work. And quite frankly, considering how fast his net worth is going up, John, I don't think Natsumi's going to have too many issues.
He is getting enough room to get that scaling up, for sure. Again, it's not as fast as you'd normally expect, but it's still coming online for Natsumi, no problems. As The side of Execration aren't really able to cross the river now. They do have those forward wards. I will say one thing about Blacklist right now. Their vision game has been on point. Like instant pings out from CML for the ward by the tier 1 ramp on mid. There was that earlier ward as well by the Lotus Pool down bot. Logs.
Log and L4G. Why did Gabby feel
Gabby's just... He's got the
cool.
hairstyle, you know, back in the day, you know, he's cool again. He's a cool kid.
But the hairstyle isn't cool, John. I was about to bring up the hairstyle. I didn't want to be too rude about it, but I don't know how he gets away with that hairstyle, John. Look, who's doing that? Zhao? Being chased down by Lewis, he'll be alright. I just don't understand how he has more beautiful hair than my wife does, John. That's all I'm saying.
Thank goodness the wifey doesn't watch us, Mike.
she
wouldn't
could
like
probably
hearing
hear,
that,
but
for sure.
She turns her ears off when I'm around John, I'll tell you. Oh, Zhao. Boundless did actually connect. Bit of a slow there as Zhao will get frostbitten on the way out. Be a nice easy pick off here for Execration. Not too much to write home about. But can you force Roshan? And I think the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, they should be able to. They've got the damage output. And they've got Tina around. They've got the Wolves. They've got... I don't see any Dominator creep, unfortunately. But it should still be... not the quickest process, but it should still get done in a reasonable amount of time. They will commit the freezing field just to ensure Blacklist not in position to contest. They will find a tier 2 off the back of this for sure. Down bot, as it's only a shove away now with Natsumi. Although the Fortify will stall. But you are set up for this quite nicely. You've got the ward to protect by the ramp now for Execration, if anyone does want to rotate from Blacklist. And a tier 2 for a secondary life on a bot while he gets his BKB up. It's a pretty big spike now for Exe. Like this Razor should, again, be able to just stand up front in a wider team fight, start to get that damage going. You've got the full Ags up on Lewis fully done. So, more utility coming out from the role as well. They just need to find that angle. And I think for the big part for Execration now is to try to mitigate these losses from your supports. You've still got the network lead. It's a decent amount, but all these pickoffs they've found on CML has allowed a little bit of leeway for these other cores. It has allowed some scaling to pour in for Blacklist while they're buying space out for Natsumi.
I feel like Natsumi's becoming too much of an issue at this point. Like, it's just too much free farm for the Terrorblade. As much as Execration might have an idea as to what they're planning to do to try and win out this game, I do feel as though Natsumi, like, if he doesn't get static linked in the middle of a fight by a bot, like, you're in huge trouble. We'll see how it goes. Execration, they are going to try and force something. On the counterpoint to that is, John, if you do get the static link, or you do just kill off Natsumi, Blacklist just have no fight. Like, their net worth just plummets. And suddenly you have a 20k advantage for Execration.
Yeah, it gets really dicey, which is, again, it's down to this core combination as well, right? Like, you've got Earth Spirit Centaur, which, again, we saw in our last series of Neon and Bleed. This duo just doesn't do damage. They are tanky. You do need your Terrorblade to actually burst heroes down. Like, your supports don't have damage either. Not too much output on Zhao and on Tim's. So it's really on how well can Natsumi angle himself. And he does have a Hurricane Pike just to get that force back on Denz. So it's not going to be as easy for the Razor to get a long duration link. We shall see. Shank scouting out again by the Tormentor here.
I'm so confused now, John. Is it Denz or is it Denzanity or a bot? What do we call it?
Both are legal, but I like throwing you for a curveball.
You sure do.
Yeah.
At the start, I started saying Denzanity. You say a bot. I go, okay, I'll follow John. I'll say a bot. And then he says Denzel. Well, why do you do this to me, John? What did I do to deserve this?
You know, I blame Shanks. All that jumping around's made me dizzy. It is what it is. I can't think too well. Very small brain here, Mike. Not much spinal fluid as they go in.
They are jumping in. A big hoop stomp coming up from Gabby, locking down two. They've got a Bart locked down, though he does have his BKB to pop. He'll try to fight this one out, but he is completely surrounded, and a Bart will drop, at least for the first life, as Tino's going to come back in, but Natsumi's got the Sunder. He'll Sunder the Lycan immediately as a Bart, now trapped between a rock and a hard place. He has got no chance of survival, and Tino's even melting here to the damage output of the Spirit Vessel, though he will barely survive. But still a fantastic fight for Blacklist Rivalry. So Execration, even with the Aegis up on their Razor, they fall apart.
force that fight very hard onto that Wisdom Rune once again, and they still managed to snag it as well earlier on with Tim's. And they taking the Tormentor is nice. The shard on CML is some value, but they overstayed their welcome. Good setup vision there from Zhao early on to just kind of help snipe through as well, get that nice angle out for Abed to kind of roll in and get a huge magnetize. You have to be really cautious. Didn't feel like they were quite fully prepared on Execration to take the follow-through fight. We'll find another Tormentor for the trouble, which gives Lewis his free shard. So our Pangolier does have options for the roll-up now on top of everything else to try to angle himself in. But Blacklist, I'd say, off the back of that fight, off the back of this Aegis, are probably in a much stronger position. Again, the scaling factor for Execration isn't that great, right? Like, it's Razor, it can scale nicely with like a refresh and level 25, but that's a lot more farm that you're looking for, and Natsumi's still number 1. This Terrorblade's going straight into the butterfly. You don't have any easy way to pierce through that evasion. You've got a good answer already from Gabby, who again, off the back of those support kills and the little bit of space they got when Execration laid back, has a Halberd now with a Blink Blade Mail. The answers are coming in from Blacklist, and for Exa, very strong start, but it doesn't feel like they capitalized enough to really get this game going their way fully.
It's an interesting scenario right now for Execration. Like, it felt like the early game was going so damn well, but now it's just slowed to an absolute crawl, and I do believe Natsumi's just become too much of an issue now. Like, he's going to have his butterfly up in just a moment, and once he has the butterfly up, it does start to feel like he's kind of unkillable. You know, unless you catch him on his own with a big smoke, in the middle of a fight with the butterfly up, it really does start to feel very hard to see him going down to the side of Exa. In Execration, they might want to start with their shenanigans again, you know, finding some objectives across the map, maybe finding those tier 2 towers ASAP, because, you know, you lose the fight with an Aegis. Chances are your next fight isn't going to go too well for you. And for now, Blacklist Rivalry, I mean, they understand the gameplay. Just keep allowing Natsumi to farm. And if anything, get Abed and Gabby some fun. You know, chances are you're going to outscale the draft of Execration anyway.
Yeah, and that you will. And the network gap has closed out. They do cut off Shanks as well.
Okay, Shanks finally will get punished here by Xiao and Abed. A lot of Rolling Thunder stuns coming out here for Abed. He's still just completely locked out and does actually die. So not a very worthwhile trade at all for Blacklist Rivalry. Though in absolute fairness, I think Abed may have really enjoyed that kill.
I think he might have. He's been looking for that one on the monkey. He's been looking to pin down Shanks. Does manage to eventually find it. I think overall, you're still happy with that kind of move, Blacklist, right? Like, yes, you're mid, but you're up. You're preventing Execration from, again, trying to play this pick-off game, trying to look for isolated heroes catching up the map. And you just give a lot of free room out for Gabby and for Natsumi to keep the scaling game up, which are your big conditions. So you're more than happy to make that sacrifice on Abed. You're still working. The map is still pretty much in your favor.
Oh, Gabby.
It is equalized in terms of tier 2s, but again, although...
Yeah, I mean, it's another nice pickup here on Gabby. The issue is, you can pick off Gabby, you can pick off Abed, but the big problem is still Natsu. That's the big issue you're going to have here as Execration.
Yeah. It's still all about how do you handle Natsumi. Again, he already has a full butterfly. Doesn't feel like there's really feasible. He is going for the refresh. You don't have enough magical burst unless you get like a full duration freezing field off in the middle before the BKB comes on for Natsumi, which he is farming next as well. So I'm curious how much more the side of Execration can get. They respond to the bot pressure. A bot will just go down, clear out this creep wave for himself. They can still shove in onto the tier 3 just a little bit with the creeps, but they're not committing, like, say, the Lycan army to get that done. Maybe find Zhao?
Try. Xiao does get caught with the Rolling Thunder of Lewis. That is going to be another nice, easy pick-off here for Execration. A big 3-man smoke up, though. Blacklist Rivalry. They are going to group up. They'll head towards their own jungle. Running towards Tino, though Tino is going to back towards his own triangle now, so he'll be just okay. They could check the Roshan pit for Blacklist Rivalry, but the thing is Roshan is still about 37 seconds away. So not the longest Roshan. Shanks is going to find the courier of Natsumi, and Abed cannot pick him off.
Oh, that's
was on the
not
courier?
insignificant. It was a Chrysalis on the courier for Natsumi, so not insignificant for him to find. Just a little bit of a damage boon for Natsumi. And just kind of stall out some more. Stall out his presence at the very least in trying to burst someone up front. Does give some time for Execration to try to retake map space. Again, Roshan in a few seconds is going to be topside. Blacklist are in the general area of the map. So it's going to be a little bit harder for them to force this out. They will try for a smoke pickoff on X's part.
Oh,
If they do find a big one,
Roshan.
let's say if you find Gabby or you find Abed here, that does open up Roshan a big way for Execration.
Oh, Blacklist, they barely missed out on Roshan. They literally left the pit as it spawned. They have no idea it spawned up, and now Gabby's going to get jumped. In fact, they'll want Tim's first. The Dark Willow still okay. The Stampede being popped. Gabby, though, he's in huge trouble. He'll try to survive on his own, but Gabby is down. So is Tim's. They'll at least take CML's life, but that's about all they found so far. Is Zhao now in trouble? Zhao trying to run, but Zhao's dead. 3 down for the side of Blacklist Rivalry. And the worst part about all this is they could have been in the Roshan pit. Had they waited 1 second longer, that fight would have never happened.
Yeah, they just pulled back way too soon. Again, it's just bad timing overall for Blacklist. Again, they were set up right on a good spot by the gate. They were in position. And Execration, really good game sense, right? Like, they go hunting. They know it's going to be a nighttime Roche with a timer, but how long it's been. They set up smoke into that fight, and they find the pickoffs they need. Respawns are fairly short. Roshan is still open for Exa, and they can start setting up for it. Maybe, not sure if they have vision to kind of scout out. You could always just have Shank stand outside, I suppose. There's still a TP point, but without Stampede, process to get into that, but it's just too awkward. It's going to be another one for Exa, Aegis Cheese.
It's way too tough to try and counter out the Roshan now. Yeah, it's another big win for Execration. I mean, this is exactly what they needed here. If you're on the side of Execration, you're looking for that Aegis and Cheese up on your end of things, and now you can give that high ground a crack. Last team fight with the Aegis up was quite a few minutes ago, but Execration, they did lose that team fight. This time around, if you can win the team fight with the Aegis, that is high ground. At the very least, the high ground attempt is going to be yours.
I think the way these fights have to go for Execration, it has to come off of Lewis jumping in first with Tino charging in. Right? Use Shanks for vision, try to get some D-wards out first before fully committing, and that's where the success for Execration has been. When Lewis can start with a roll, get the chain stuns off, allows the easiest link, sustained link for a bot, things can go smoothly for Execration when that happens. The issue is, with the way Blacklist are playing, you will take that kind of fight, but chances are you're not going to be finding an Natsumi. Still, even again, just finding the two cores at this point with Aegis up should lead into some significant map gain, some pressure onto the last tier 2, a little bit of chip damage on to the tier 3s as well. And if they force Gabby to maybe pop that Stampede, and they do manage to clean them up, I think the high ground then is a possibility. Be fully up on that too. This is going to come in. The chain stun from the side of Exa has to be perfect. Right, like with that debuff immunity up. If they are trying to gun down this Terrorblade, if that is the focus point, if that is the target they want to fully static link up, then it needs to be perfection from Lewis.
Oh, here we go. There's a 4-man smoke going into a 5-man smoke. Gabby is going to join his team here to try and force a team fight around this tier 2 bottom tower. Could be absolutely massive for either side, though Blacklist is desperate to get this win going for themselves here. Otherwise, it is again a high ground that's going to be set up for Execration. They'll get onto that dire triangle here. Blacklist Rivalry still looking to set up. Gabby looking for a jump in. They'll see Teen over. Teen is going to get the Wolf form off in time. Instead, they'll go into CML, but the Wukong's command, they've caught out Gabby for a moment. He'll be able to back his way out as Den's now looking to retreat. Tino will rush back in. Who were they actually aiming? Looks like they're going to find Zhao on the Weaver. They'll lock him down with the Frostbite. Zhao is down. They'll go for a little bit more. Abed now being targeted. He's already less than half HP, and Tino's got him. They'll take down Gabby. Multiple heroes from Blacklist just going down as Natsumi's the big target. He'll go for the Sunder and his own teammate. He'll survive a little bit longer, but not for long enough. Natsumi is down. 4 down for the side of Blacklist. Only Tim's left, and it doesn't seem like he'll be left for too long as he does go down to boot. A full team wipe for Execration. I think now you must rush high ground.
this is your opening. You expended the Aegis, no problem there for a bot. You still have a lot of damage to pump into the tier 3s if you so wish. It looks like they might be setting up for the Tormentor first. They've got the refresh ready on a bot now as well. Very well protected now on this Razor. Lincoln's refresh only lacking maybe some sustain now, if that's something he wants. Something like a Satanic up front, another Dispelled Source with a Manta, with a BKB, but there's no play now. Again, you killed off Gabby, forcing out the Stampede. There's no easy angle, it's in. The roll is already back up as well for Lewis. They aren't going to fully commit. They do play it safe, but a lot of things happened in that last fight. Like, even just the positioning of CML, he blocked Abed's roll on the cliff, manages to use the Crystal Cyclone down and just cuts off that Rixper.
Oh, they can Abed! Abed gets caught again. He can't roll away either. He runs right into Densanity. Now Xiao being caught. A perfect rolling thunder by Lewis. Sets up onto 2. Oh boy, Blacklist rivalry absolutely falling apart here in this game 1. And I'll tell you, I mean, their mid-game was a pretty big recovery for Blacklist rivalry, but their late game is looking pretty horrific as they're going to try again. Insanity Des dropping low. A bot might go down, but no, he walks away. Finally dropping to Natsumi. They'll get the final right click just in the nick of time. They'll try to punish for even more. They'll go after Lewis, who does also drop. Nice defense. After that first lane of Barracks does go down, they manage to defend, taking down 2 of them. In fact, they'll find the third now. Tino to also drop. A massive defense from Blacklist rivalry. Only 1 Rax down so far. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's still playable for the side of Blacklist. Execration overstaying their welcome, trying to go for that secondary set of racks without the full reset. Very forced movement out. Does get punished nicely. Again, you still have a lot of power in Natsumi. This Terrorblade hits like a truck with a butterfly and just the Crystallis into the full Daedalus as it's flying out now. It's even more output for Natsumi. The way these fights have to go, it's either you bait them in one by one, as we saw in that last fight, by the triangle, or it has to be off the back of a really strong initiation from Lewis. And they were just not in position to get either of those factors off in that last fight. Still Natsumi forcing hard, forces out the Fortify. Respawns aren't too far off though. Natsumi has to watch himself. He did buy out fully.
It's a massive turnaround for Blacklist rivalry. I mean, they're trying their absolute best to even out the game. Midrax is gone. Sunder out from Natsumi just in case, but that's going to be about it. They'll even out the game quite nicely. In fact, they'll go for a T2 tower while they're still out of here. Blacklist trying to get away with as much as humanly possible. Hell, even finding Shanks' courier. Imagine that, John. That was a big courier to boot. Mystic Staff and the Tiara of Salamene going down for the Monkey King. Oh boy, that was his
recipe. Yeah, he had a recipe in his backpack. Would have been a huge tool for Execration to open these fights. Karma, it bites back. Oh, all those couriers, and for what? To lose yours when you need that side of Vice for these team fights. Because again, the initiation, it feels like, is the big issue for Execration. They need to get a jump before the BKBs pop up and get the chain stunts. Or, again, break up these fights with CML's positioning, blocking off Abed's roll, just fragmenting that fight in a very clustered area, preventing Blacklist from doing what they wanted on that triangle. Still, you maintain this 4K lead on Exe. And for Blacklist, and Natsumi is delivering the goods. Satanic not too far off on the Terrorblade, still #1 in net worth by a mile. His farming pace hasn't slowed down despite the nerfs to the illusions. Still, Roche has to be the next big factor. Blacklist cannot miss out on this next one. They've got to be able to get in position to contest. We'll see in about a minute how long that timer is. You're also getting some solutions out from Tino. He is going for the Bloodtorn. That's one way to pierce through the evasion once the BKB and Manta are expended, I suppose. Does make it a little bit easier if they can hold out for that usage and in a longer fight here for Execration's part. Still, you are starting to hit that wall now, right? With the refresh up on a bot going into the Shivas, there's not much room left to grow for the Razor. Maybe a Ag's upgrade, an Ag's Blessing, or Moonshard eaten up is the next step. It doesn't compare at that point to the Terrorblade unless you get that link. Blacklist trying for a smoke out here.
Oh, they absolutely are. Like, Natsumi's completely 6-slotted now, getting rid of his boots to boot, so there's no more farm to be had here for the TB. He needs to go. They're going to see Dens. He gets the plasma field from the high ground. The wards are there. Gabby, quick BKB out. Densanity, he's fine for now. He'll go for the static then got to the Centaur, rushing towards the Terrorblade Natsumi. He's going to be careful. He'll try to go after Densanity. Looks like now with his BKB, but Tino's broken the gap. Natsumi's gone.
Wait,
Natsumi is gone. Oh, and now Abed's down a bird. Oh, that's terrible. That is horrible, horrible news for Blacklist Rivalry. Densanity, did you see how quickly he reacted, John?
That was
the BKB.
That was a snap.
It came out instantly.
Not just his response, like the follow-up from Lewis instantly coming in, going for the rolls, taking that fight. They were in position. I don't think that was a planned move at all. They were just in position, and on a snap's notice, they coordinate for that fight really nicely on the side of Exe. Quite a few mistakes coming out there from Blacklist, right? Like, you do have the full ags up on Gabby. He couldn't get in position to actually hitch a ride onto Natsumi. And Natsumi, he sundered something. Didn't really do much for his HP, unfortunately, and it leads to this awkward circumstance. Another set of racks for Tino to try to find. Mind you, the Crimson Guard, look at this damage block. Based on the caster's HP, it is insane on the Centaur.
It is a ridiculous amount of damage block, especially when you're up against the Lycan, but they'll get through it eventually. So Zhao is making it very hard. He got rid of most of the creep wave, but it's not quite enough. There's another creep wave coming. They'll be fine to continue on for that final lane of barracks. Blacklist Rivalry, they are stuck waiting 20 seconds for Natsumi to respawn. Abed will be up once again, and it seems like that's going to be enough execration to actually find Zhao. So suddenly now there's a Weaver gone, though he does at least have buyback and does commit it as now Gabby does jump in. There's a two-man stun out. They will try for the Razor, but he's fine for now. Bart's going to back his way out with the BKB, looking to go back in onto Abed. Though Abed does roll away. Here comes Natsumi. Lewis is rolling his way out. They'll try for the chase with the swashbuckle. They've got Lewis they've got him locked down, and Lewis should be dropping. That's one. Lewis does have buyback though. So not really too much to come out of this, but maybe you can force buyback out of the Pengoli.
Good luck to do that. Maybe the safer play for Blacklist now is to try to, again, consider Roche, shove out these lanes, repair their map control, and set up for a secondary life to have that safety net for Natsumi. Still, Shanks keeping an eye on any movements across the map. Just kind of watching. Top is to go. They've got some good forward wards again here for Blacklist to set up for Dire Side Roshan, but with a respawn time, it will end up down south. That is something they can play around here for Execration. Still, both sides understanding this.
You know what really pisses me off, though? Like, Shanks is actually the same level as the Dark Willow and Crystal Maiden in this game. Like, considering the first 15 minutes of the game, he did not, like, lane at all. He's actually still the same level as both those other supports.
It looks perfectly balanced to me, Mikey.
That's
perfectly fine. Nothing wrong here.
The only thing that could make this draft better is a Spirit Breaker with his innate ability, the plus 50% XP. Could you imagine?
The Hex?
Here we go. They get a Hex out, Tims. Let's get caught for a moment. He'll get the Ogre Seal Totem onto the high ground. Problem is, you can pre-dance all the while. Gabby, though, coming in with a big hoop stop onto 2. Shanks will barely survive, but now as Abed's going to roll in with a big magnetize. They've taken down 2 of them. CMO and Shanks are both down. Abed, though's giving his life away for that. Still Natsumi. He'll try for Densanity. Dens. He's trying to run onto the high ground, but he's gone. What?
No buyback.
What is... Natsumi! Natsumi's gone! Shanks will kill him! Natsumi will die to Shanks on the Monkey King of all things. As now they'll find Zhao. Zhao will drop Zhao will drop to Shanks.
What?
Natsumi has buyback, but Blacklist, they've lost 3 without buyback now. They've only got 1 buyback, and that's Natsumi.
I'm a little bit shocked from both teams in that engagement. The fact that Execration forced that while Lewis is still respawning, and then the fact that Blacklist fall apart once Tino shows up and once the Wukong's flies on from the buybacks of the supports. It's rough. They do buy back on Natsumi from just Shanks shoving in with a threat of going onto the high ground. The gem is still left from when... The gem was left when Lewis died, so Execration get to take it back. That's... Nice. A lot of things are happening that aren't lining up for both sides. Still, it's the heat of the moment, right? There's a lot of effects flying out, a lot of things just happening. Can be a little bit hard to read. It's been a bit of a struggle for Gabby to try to get the picture right. To me, feels like that's been something that's not been connecting as well as it has in, again, the last series we were watching. Roshan is up, and Execration does get scouted out. They can hand this over to a bot. who again fully bought out the Shivas, so does not have buyback gold. Rush shouldn't take too long to clear out. That does give time for Blacklist to fully respawn, take one more fight on the high ground defense. We see the output of Natsumi. Just has to be cautious. Once the BKB fades away, and you get that blood torn on, it's an easy matter for the side of Execration to still pump that damage in. And this is a big tool as well. You've got the full Roshan's banner up. It's a little bit harder for the side of Blacklist to reach into that. 2 melee cores, Terrorblade with Metamorphosis maybe can kind of deal with that banner if it doesn't put him in an awkward spot, but this should allow a much more secure high ground for Exis. Still, Blacklist trying to force this fight outside with smoke here.
Yeah, it's going to be a desperate fight, I think, here for Blacklist Rivalry. They've made it happen before. With the Aegis on the opposing side, they have won out these team fights, but they're going to have to do it again. So they will roll towards the side of Execration, just running down south, though Execration seem to be very well aware this is coming. They are waiting in the tree line. This will be a very hard fight for Blacklist to try and initiate. They'll go for a counter smoke now, Execration. Gabby has been very good with the initial hoof stomps. But we need to see even more. They're going to find Tino. Tino's been caught out for Lycan. That's a big pick-off. And they may have just left Tino to die here as Tino's still running, still surviving. Maybe they can take the fight. Dental move in, but it's just on the bridge. It's on this very narrow opening. You can't fight on that area. Somehow Tino doesn't die, though. How does Tino survive that?
He is rather durable on this Lycan. That does expend some resources out from Execration. No Rolling Thunder out from Lewis, so not going to be able to force out any more. And that does kill off as well. I think they also expended the BKB up on Tino. Did manage to just BKB in the nick of time and run off. So, again, very tanky on the Lycan with a Howl. And that is enough to clear. Still, amplify damage rune for the side of Blacklist to find another smoke out. They're the ones who need this fight outside high ground. They've got to win outside, pressure on. They could look to end. Like, if they win this fight outside, if they manage to find all the lives on a bot, potentially you could just shove right in with Natsumi.
You've literally done it to me all game, you know. Denzanity, a bot, Denzanity, a bot, You know, if people are asking who a bot is in this game, you're the one who has to explain it, because you've changed on me 20 times now. Every single fight, I don't know what to call him anymore. Well, what's the next one? What do you want for the next fight, John? Do you want Denzanity or a bot?
Look, it's a bad habit I had hanging out with Armel and the others. They always code switch the names. So I end up code switching as well. It's like a bot, Denz. Then they had another nickname that I forget now. They have like triple nicknames on everyone when we talk about someone. You know, it just melts your brain, Mikey. In a good way.
I'm not gonna lie. I almost called him Denzel Washington the last fight. No, almost. Not quite. that would have been a compliment in all fairness, though. They do jump in. CML. You'll get caught by Gabby.
It's not dead.
Staff away. Those CMLs actually alive. They can't kill him off quick enough as the stampede away is there from Gabby, but the chase is on. They've got the harpoon out. Gabby, he is gonna get locked down, and Gabby is down, but he'll buy it back. You've still got a 5v5 engagement here for both sides. Problem is the mid-rax is dying, but Abed, he's going to roll in. He'll try for the Pango. Problem is he's doing no damage here to Lewis. Lewis will be fine. In fact, Abed's the one that needs to roll out of there and does do so successfully. But Blacklist, they're popping all their spells for nothing, and Abed's down. Abed's dead.
They cut him off?
Yeah, I mean, Abed's learning the hard way not to pick Earth Spirit. This hero is absolute trash. I'm just going to say it again.
It's a weird one. No buyback for 3 minutes on Abed.
It's trash. Say it how it is, John. It is absolute trash.
Hey, at the least, you know, you're not Ricky. He's not Ricky, Mike. Ricky's garbage here for sure. So, you know, there's still some bright sides there, Mike. It's still semi-viable, and this high ground defense for Blacklist has to be more than semi-viable. At the least, no refresh on a bot. Did pop it in the last fight. Find themselves a nice Tormentor for a little bit more gold. They only have 1 Rax left to worry about to get the Megas up. It's just this problem of Natsumi, right? Like, as long as Natsumi hangs back and doesn't reveal himself, doesn't allow himself to get linked up, holds on to that BKB, has a refresh as well, then the solutions aren't there. You have to actually now kind of try to eat through 2 refresh charges. Double BKB is your bigger concern.
Oh, here we go.
And then try to go from there. They'll slowly shove in.
The mid-rax. You just go for the mid-racks. That's all you need to get the Megas up, and they will fight. Megas on the way. Nice Gleipnir out from Lewis. He'll catch a couple. Still rolling by the fountain now, trying to find himself a target, but everyone does get away. Well, how do you fight as Blacklist now with the Megas incoming? It feels like they are just lacking a bit too much on their end of things. They are going to make the jump in onto the Razor. They've locked him down for now, but he's still such a tanky boy, but he does go down. That's the first one. Terrorize will fly out, connecting the second time around, but with the 4-star away, but he's going to be just fine to turn around now with his BKB on a Gabby. They're looking for a dieback and they've got it. Gabby is gone and Natsumi gets caught with that boundless strike. He's going to find a Sunder target here, Natsumi. Oh, he doesn't even Sunder shell. He just dies. Lewis does at least go down, but this is over. GG's called. A very sad last fight for Blacklist rivalry, and props to Execration to a victory for themselves.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know which way the Filipino fans would lean for this one, because there's no losing here for a Filipino fan. Again, you know, when we closed out that last game, if Blacklist loses, guess who they face up against? TNC. Yeah. So you get your content anyway, guys. So it's a win-win scenario, no matter who wins out on this series. You know, you've got something to be happy about, I suppose.
Look at this Beastmaster. Tino's got the Gomo Gomo no Mi going for himself on the Beastmaster here, Jonathan. I know you still don't get that joke, but...
I really don't. I do not understand. Oh, this thing, yeah. Yeah, the capes.
What is that? The capes. Well, what is it about capes?
Yeah,
it's no superheroes allowed.
I don't know. No, it's just been the capes have been bugging out in cosmetics. I do not know why.
Well,
there must be a technical reason.
Dragon Knight's got a cape. Why isn't his cape doing that, John?
Yeah. No, his back item's not a full cape. I think it's the way these back items work. It feels like a physics issue with one of the strands on the rig just going to an origin point behind the hero's model. I don't know. That's a very technical way of saying it's something like that, but I'm not sure. It doesn't matter.
That, it really doesn't matter. Thank you, John. I appreciate you trying to take a crack at guessing what the problem is, but we couldn't care less. Thank you, sir. It's mid-racks. Excuse me, mid-lane rather. We're not at the racks yet. Lewis is going to be up against... Shut up, John. Abed versus Lewis is here. The Pango versus DK. One of the most boring matchups in existence, and a matchup we've seen way too much in the last 2 to 3 years, Jonathan. Though, would you like to talk about it one more time?
That's such a fascinating matchup, Mike. You've got the double jump for Abed, and you've got the breed fire for Lewis. Lewis shouldn't be under too much pressure, but Abed shouldn't be fully shut out of the lane either. Maybe once level 2 breed fire is up, it could get fairly annoying, but this is a very stable farming lane for both sides. Shouldn't be as exciting. Rune control also not as important. Still somewhat important, the first power rune, but the water runes a little bit less so, maybe more so for Abed with bottle, but Lewis could probably care less. We'll see if that's something he even considers. So far, CS again going better for DK as you'd expect, but Abed should be able to take this creep wave with double range quite nicely once it's under his tower, so no pressure there. The other lanes are a little bit more exciting. Your top lane, you're already having Gabby having to pull away, down bot, you've got the axe spam and the damage that Shanks can pump out as well. On the Beastmaster Techies lane, Tino does go for the beast mode inner beast facet, so he can get some nice easy bonus damage on the axes flying out. It can stack up again. The old axe debuff can be a little bit painful for Zhao. Overall, this lane shouldn't be too bad for Natsumi, all things considered. The easier target will have to be that CM, and if they can land the sticky bomb into a blast off with a couple of axe stacks, they can eat off of Zhao, which is something that can start to go a little bit sideways for Blacklist. Zhao only has the one mango left as well, so not many spells to cast out. Big spike for Natsumi is that level 3. See how soon he can get it and if they can play off the back of it.
I mean, I might add, John, I wouldn't recommend eating off Xiao, but, you know, each to their own. Of course, top lane. We are going to have a Bart and CML up against Tims on the Tusk. And where is our off-laner? There he is. The Darkseer, of course, of Gap. This seems like a pretty easy lane for a bot. I don't really think there's too much in the way of shutting him down here. At the same time, chances are Gabby's going to have a fine time, as we are seeing Tims just pull the creep wave away. CML trying to be as annoying as humanly possible, but again, there's not too much you can do about it. Nice little shard block there from Tims. Does still get the creep wave. Very high level kind of play there from Tims. And again, I think you are going to have Gabby finding his... Oh, nice enchant. Gabby does get his surge cancelled off here. Going to try to run. The chase is on from a butt, and Gabby might actually just be dead. They have the Sakuchi in one. Tim's going to try and save the day with a snowball. Den still running. Does get him. Does get him in the end. As Tino will also drop across the map. They'll even lose a Crystal Maiden here for Blacklist.
Yeah. It's maybe a little bit better down bot, all things considered. Natsumi doesn't fall. He's flying a secondary onto Shanks. So all that solo EXP for Natsumi, now level 4. Well past this early spike at 3. Gonna be feeling great in that lane, but you are slowing down Gabby quite nicely. And again, giving a bot a lot of farm as well. Does feel like the early impact of the Weaver might be a little bit greater. Would say a fast javelin timing. That's what they're going here for a bot. Overall, still fairly happy up top. They are doing the right things. They're making it awkward for Tims to just freely soak EXP. Gabby's going to need a lot of EXP as well to really play that lane. And that's going to be a good foundation for them to play off of. Considering Lewis's mid, again, is very straightforward against Abed. Not much outplay potential here for Abed. Lewis is going for the 2 points in the Worm's Rat. And is just holding that lane, not caring about the runes. They did commit quite a few wards here on mid as well for Blacklist, just to give Abed more control into the 6-minute mark. Not sure if that's going to be playing a big factor, but with a vision set up, you would want to see Blacklist get the space to play onto that mid. Not sure if you're going to be feeling too comfy, considering, again, how slow the top lane has been. And the fact that maybe Tim's... I mean, he's level 3, so it is playable, but could soak into 4, I suppose, by the time 6 minutes rolls around. And that could line up a little bit better.
It's just hard for Tims because there's nowhere for him to play. Like, if you go mid lane, you're not going to kill Lewis. If you go bottom, like, maybe you can set up, but Tino and Shanks are playing very, very, very carefully. In fact, they are going to rotate one over, and it's going to be the Pangolier coming down towards the bottom lane. So Abed, he's going to be around, but this is kind of the issue. Is Tino and Shanks are already very cautiously hanging by the large cap. They'll get a pull away with a creep wave, and Abed with his TP rotation, all he's going to get is a bounty room with the bottle refill. That's literally it.
Yeah. You're happy again with the space. You're soaking into 6 a little bit faster for Lewis. Can threaten the solo push. The Elder Dragon form and the Corrosive Dragon form. Once that level 6 is up, you're getting, again, fairly free lane for a bot up top. Everything's kind of lining up. I would say, for Blacklist, that Natsumi isn't farming too badly. Number 2 in terms of net worth. Has his power treads flying in. Already has 1 bracer up, so is very durable. Kind of eat through some of these axe spams that Tino is spamming out. I'm not sure when the play comes in either for the side of Exa. I believe, again, it's kind of on this DK6. If you can maybe rotate off of that, get tower pressure even, that can open up the game more. But in an even farming game, in this game state, it does feel good for Exa. If they can capitalize on this kind of start into the 15-minute mark, or again, just find some early tier 1s with Lewis, and can get a little bit challenging for Blacklist.
Abed's being chased down quite heavily here by Lewis. There's a lot of damage flying out from this Dragon Knight. Shanks is going to show up. He'll actually land the Sticky Bomb into the blast off, that the raindrops do save Abed from a lot of damage. The chase continues though, and Abed, he's going to be okay, but they are going to force him back towards the fountain. So it's not a very easy lane for Abed. Not only has he lost to the mid DK, which is pretty standard as the Pangolier, but he did also make that bottom rotation, which amounted to nothing. And now even the mid lane just being targeted by the side of Execration just makes it impossible for him to stick around. And John, they've got a siege creep and an Elder Dragon form going at the moment, so they just deal with this creep wave here in the mid lane. That T1 tower is going to lose half its HP.
Yeah, they're set up for it quite nicely in Exa. Again, just playing off this timing from Lewis, looking for the early objectives. Even a bot's getting some good damage off onto Gabby up top. Might be able to fully commit for that chase down as well if he so wishes. Gabby will just TP off from the back of the pause. Still free space for your Darkseer top. Your Tusk, Tims, again, doesn't have anywhere to rotate to. You're getting that nice steady shove on mid. You are starting to interrupt Tino's farm, but Zhao,
he's going to find himself in danger. Tino in danger to boot, but Natsumi can't quite finish off the job. He'll leave the Phantasm Illusion to chase down the Beastmaster, but he's going to be okay to just outrun it. As Natsumi desperately needing a little bit of help, still trying to run away from Shanks, but he does have another Sticky Bomb. it won't land them. That's going to be enough for the Execration to decide better on, but they won't chase any further. I think just getting Tino away is going to be more than enough for them to be happy, as even CML barely able to walk away himself from this illusion. Still, I think it does feel like Execration are getting away with quite a lot already here in this game number 2, though they do lose CML, as Abed does rotate and does find the kill.
They finally get some value from that ward, so Abed finds something for his trouble. That's something that the team does desperately need. It does feel like, considering how slow that lane has been, it's even a small kill like the Enchantress does amount to quite a fair bit. 3-3, a much more even scoreline early on in this game for the side of Exa and Blacklist. And you are still lining up for this early timing for the side of Execration though. We've already got the early Javelin up on Abad. He's doing a lot more damage now when he can just duel down Gabby. Gabby at least has Soul Ring, has level 3 Iron Shell, so can just farm up quite fine, but can't really contest the Weaver fully. Mid-tier 1 still standing at more than half HP. So push pace from Lewis, not as quick as you'd want it to be without the full commitment of some support bodies. I think the big thing for Blacklist is, again, they've got a little bit more forward vision, so they can try to invade. They know there are stacks being built up in the triangle. They can try to look for the pickoffs into clearance if they want. Execration has to be aware.
There's a pretty big group up here from Blacklist Rivalry, looking towards perhaps Tino. Tims is going to rush forward past the tier 1 tower and does reveal they were indeed looking for a kill, but here come the rotations. Rotate the Weaver over. Abart's going to be around to help out his team, and poor old Zhao is just going to cop so much damage because he does have the Javelin up on the Weaver. The damage output is pretty insane, and of course it will be a nice easy kill onto Zhao. And ultimately, this bottom tier 1 tower amounts to nothing but forcing the rotations down from Execration, but that's really all you got out of it.
Yeah. It's not much. Still, that does secure triangle stacks, so it's not going to be invaded anytime soon here by the side of Blacklist. We should just be able to get some quick flash farm up, maybe into that Dominator Overlord that Tino does love. And even if a bot leaves, again, he finds a pickoff, he just walks back top with a Shikuchi. Still free farming, still no pressure from the side of Blacklist. You're happy. This is still space for Natsumi. Armlet almost done on the CK. And you are going Echo on Abed, who will find CML another time. So again, very important small pickoffs to find for Blacklist. It's going to be the Ogre Axe for Abed, a little bit more stats up front into that Echo Saber. It just allows you to find some wins in the slower pace of game.
I mean, absolutely. You just got to take these small pickoffs where you can. CML certainly has been that small, easy pickoff that they can hope for every single time. So they are looking toward the tier 1 mid tower. They could try for Lewis, but Lewis has 21 charges. He's a Dragon Knight, so chances are he's just not going to die. And they will indeed just leave him alone and go for the power rune. And of course, Abed does pick up a nice regen rune for himself, so he'll head up towards the top lane. Perhaps see if they can set up onto the Weaver of Abad. Speaking of that Weaver, Abad is getting pretty close to the Maelstrom timing, but he may get caught. Tims will catch him with the shards. Abad does have time-lapse to play with, so he's pretty calm at the moment. And he will just Sukuchi away anyway, so they can't really lock him down. The Weaver's fine.
No. And they could group up for their own siege up top. And Gabby is shoving Green Wave quite nicely, has the siege creep, even Natsumi shows up. So we'll be able to find a tower trade at the least. And maybe look for stragglers, CML. Might be the sacrificial lamb, if ever.
Yeah, they may get him, maybe not even. Like, I mean, he might just scout out all these rotations. As Abart's still messing with them top lane, just going Sakuchiing right through Natsumi every 2 seconds. Tims has got the dust ready this time around, but it seems as though Natsumi is indeed going to have to back his way out. They still have a siege creep though, so that T1 tower is still going to go down top lane. Tims will go ahead and pick that one up for himself. I mean, both sides are more than happy with what's happening here. It doesn't seem like either one is under any form of pressure to try and find any kills against each other. Abart's going to find Gabby. Gabby will be okay to just surge his way out of there, so he's perfectly fine. And ultimately, it doesn't really feel like much is coming out of any of this. Just a tier 1 top tower to drop, that's about it.
I think, again, for the side of Blacklist, it's just free space for Natsumi. Going for the Orchid next on the CK. Selling some recovery out for Abed. Only one part away from full Echo Saber. Gabby, for his part, just working on sustain as well. Should have some of those ores come into play rather soon. I don't know. I feel like in this kind of game state, maybe it's a little bit too slow for Exe. It does feel like you want to get something out now that you have the blink up in Lewis. You want to be able to fully commit onto that tier 1 mid, although...
No, Gabby, they're going to end up finding a bot. A bot on that top lane is actually going to take Gabby down. And well, Gabby, he tried to sit up with the wall as he was being chased by a bot already, but he just drops. And that mid tier 1 tower push from the side of Execration, it can start, or rather continue.
Yeah. He managed to snag away the Invis rune away from Abed as well, so no bottle refill. Still not fully committing onto the siege, showing a lot of respect and restraint for what Blacklist could potentially bring out there. This is allowing a lot of free space for Tino, which we know Execration loves to do in all of their iterations, as they will catch out Shanks.
They do catch out Shanks again, but the blast-off is going to be there, and Abed, he's still going to go for the Rolling Thunder, but seeing Tino with the Roar ready, won't even bother. No point. Just get roared within that Rolling Thunder, and you just probably end up dying, so they will back their way out. And going back to that point you just made about Tino, I mean, they certainly do like giving this man a lot of farm, but it really does usually pay off. You know, Tino does have very consistently good games.
And he does. He is rushing the Ags, as they will eventually find Shanks fully. So they do manage to get that kill for Abed. Again, that's the Echo Saber out, going for the Blink Ags. But yeah, going back to Tino, into the Ags buildup. And that is somewhat of a solution for the CK illusions, I suppose. Not the most common nowadays with all the nerfs that Drums of Slam has gotten. You know, it's not the good old funny days when Drums of Slam was new and you play into a PL, and that was Execration, if I recall right, that we were watching back then, like where Tino would not die for like a solid 2 minutes there. Not quite the same anymore. I think that was against Polaris.
I think it was Polaris that they were up against back then, but it was something, that's for sure. So we are going to see CML being spotted out by Tims. Tims will be... He'll think better of it. Obviously won't go for the attempt onto CML. And Drums of Slom has been something I've been seeing a lot in my games from these Beastmasters. So I got to say, like, it seems like the way to go, especially if you can get yourself a bit of spell life still. Just that the heal can get pretty ridiculous. Rather obnoxious to try and kill this Beastmaster off in the middle of a team fight, but even just the farming pace of this item, like how fast it lets you farm once you have it up, it's pretty ridiculous.
That it is. I'm not sure if that interacts with... I suppose it does interact with the Inner Beast active. I feel like it should, but the wording is very vague. So... It feels like it should, right? Like the Whirling Axis debuff applies on his attack target outside of just Whirling Axis? Perhaps?
I can't confirm. I'd be guessing. Tier 1 tower bottom to go down, but they are trading the mid-tier 1 tower here for Blacklist, so this is a very worthwhile trade. If you are Blacklist Rivalry, problem is they're not going to be able to get away with all of them. They'll get rid of half his HP. Execration, they will rotate a couple over, and that's going to be about it. Blacklist Rivalry, no interest in sticking around this area. But they do even out the map quite nicely. Like both top and bottom tier 1 towers are gone. Now you've got both mid towers sitting at around 1/3 HP. And so ultimately you are keeping on parity with the side of Execration, which I think is a good thing for Blacklist Rivalry, quite frankly, because it does feel like Execration have the more tempo setting style of draft. As bottom, Natsumi is looking at a Bart. Gets the Orchid off. A Bart had no idea this was coming. He'll go for a run. The snowball is incoming, but he gets a time lapse in time. A Bart is fine for now. He'll continue to run. They'll chase him down with a rift out, but a Bart is fine. In fact, he'll get a Gleipnir up. He'll turn around onto Natsumi, but oh, that was a mistake. That was too quick from a Bart. It doesn't matter too much though, because he gets Natsumi down, and now the chase is on for Tims. And Tino, he'll have no problem with this, I don't think. Snowball will make it a little bit more challenging. Shard's block is there, but they'll get the root with the birds out, and Tims will drop. And this is another thing I might add, John, is even if your Weaver Pos 1 does die, I'm telling you right now, these offlane Beastmasters, they do transition to carry roles. With this Drums, it's so ridiculous how much damage they do. It really is.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. They get the space to clear out mid as well, so very good use of space out, trading the cores. And Tino, his output's already just crazy standing up front. Did pop the Inner Beast as well. And Again, it's such a good solution for the CK that I almost forgot. We rarely see the Glimpse of Slop come out up against these illusion heroes. Martino loves them and works out. 6-7, 1k lead coming out for Exe. You're not too far behind here in Blacklist, to be fair. You've got the blink up on Abed. He's got the roll already. Going for the Harpoon. Gabby does at least have the full Guardian Greaves, so the Gleipnir won't hold him down fully. But it's been a slow game. I think this is the one thing. It almost feels like it's a bit of a mirror for both sides, right? We've seen games where Execration, when Tino has an awful, awful start, it feels like they can't get anything done. Same thing kind of goes with Blacklist. It feels like Gabby needs to kind of get things going for his team. He's been trying to get space solo up top, but the progression, the Guardian Reaves are nice. We just need to see its impact soon in some wider fights.
They're at least going to try and even out the map again. They'll find the mid-tier 1 tower. So again, Blacklist Rivalry, they're still doing a pretty good job of staying on parity in this game. CML kind of just stood his ground there for a moment and will donate his life to the side of Blacklist Rivalry, trying to get some D-wards off. That's all right. Big smoke up now from Blacklist. They want to go for a bit more. Problem is they run right into the mines. So there goes your smoke. I mean, maybe Tino sticks around. But of course, he is looking to retreat, and he does have his blink up if he needs it, and does use it. So he's fine.
Get the scan off in the right spot, but the tier 1's still there to protect. So Blacklist can't really get too much off the back of this one. It does feel like they need Tims to have his own blink. Like, relying fully just on Abed for some of these single target pickoffs with his blink in isn't maybe the most safe way of them coming in, especially the Beastmaster threat. Just waiting out for Tim's blink, perhaps, to start to get more angles in. Could be the way. I love what CML's doing, though. On this Ench, he just walks up. He doesn't care. He's scouting. He's breaking smokes. He's giving some key info. He knows it takes a lot to kill him. The only reason they killed him last time that quick was because they had freezing field. Now they don't even bother contesting the Ench. It's like, with his facet, the overprotective Wisp just does so much work.
It's pretty dumb. It's actually really dumb how much killing they provide. It's kind of the thing as well, right? Like, everyone agreed that the facets of, or even the innate ability of hold that thought, because they are going in onto the DK right now. The Dragonite actually melting to the damage output on Lewis, so Lewis is gone. Massive amounts of damage if you can find the DK by himself. Mind you, Lewis is very close to a BKB. So once that recipe is available for the BKB, you're not going to be able to do that again. But for now, Blacklist, they will find a very good kill.
That's a little bit disconnected from Lewis moving forward while Tino's already in the triangle. Does get punished, trying to get a little bit greedy, clearing out camps. They are setting up nicely around the bot jungle here on the side of Execration. Again, they've got this full Gleipnir up on a bot, so they could look to just burst him down once more. It does feel like Tino is necessary, though, for a lot of this early damage that you're looking for from Exe. Blacklist just playing on the top area. They've got good forward vision here. One in front of the tier 2, one by the ramp. In front of the top tier 2 as well. So they can feel safe just farming up. Both sides are dodging. Again, going back to what you said earlier, it is Execration that's a little bit more on a tempo draft. So all of the stall time does work out nicely for Blacklist. Still, Roche does begin. With Tino around and with a bot around, this should not take too long.
I say tempo, but the thing is, John, I get kind of worried for Blacklist with Tino. I'm telling these Beastmasters, man, if they get the right team fights. And he's got that Vampire Fangs now as well, so he's got an extra plus 10% spell lifesteal. So, you know, he's got more healing coming. We'll see how it goes. As Blacklist Rivalry, they've got a nice ward around this area. They can fight very well as a bot. Does think better of it, does Sakuchi back up, but Abed's going to jump right back in, trying to go after CMO, but he's been drawn up immediately. They'll try to save him, but he's gone. Abed just gets completely blown up. This team fight is completely wrecked for Blacklist. They need to run. It's 3 down already. Gabby will try and get out. He is set to fall to boot, and he is down. They literally laugh at them. Gabby will get tipped here by a butt. Fair enough. And I think they must have thought it was only CML. Because they jumped in, trying to take him down, and it was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't think they managed to get a glimpse of a bot. He didn't Shikuchi into anyone. And just that much commitment, again, onto CML is too much. That's why I figured they were waiting for Tims to get a blink, so they could start with Tims first. give Abed a secondary blink follow-through. Instead, do get punished nicely. They hang on to the Aegis to take a tier 2. Nice and simple for Execration. AT11, 6k lead up, BKB up on a bot. Now, you've got the BKB still ready to go on Lewis as well. Only Tino having to pop his.
Natsumi.
Oh,
Stuck around the tree line for some reason here. Natsumi in massive trouble. Will go for the Phantasm. They don't even need the Roar here. Natsumi trying to get out, will not be able to make it as Abed does move in with a Rolling Thunder, but they've got the BKBs going, and now they've got the Roar out. Oh, Abed's down again. I mean, he's running. He's still getting out of there, but they've got the Gleipnir to lock him down, and he is gone. Oh, Natsumi, he was literally sitting in the tree line, and they just, with the smoke rotation, once the smoke broke, they knew he was there. There's nowhere else he could have been. It just, it's not, well, Blacklist, they're not on the same page here, John.
No, this is one of the issues that we see from Blacklist when games get a little bit shaky. It can look a little bit directionless almost, or uncoordinated. And Execration are playing as a unit so damn well. Mid-tier 3 just faults, interacts, they go. Mind you, for Natsumi, it's not an easy game without a BKB on the CK. He does have the Manta, but to know which timing, to know when you want to pop the Manta, right, with a Techies on hand, with a reactive Taser, with a Gleipnir, there's a lot to worry about for the CK. Going again.
Oh, here we go again. Another Roar out. Who have they got? They've got Gabby this time around with the Darkseer, and Gabby is just down. No chance. They've even got Thames. Thames is gone. Natsumi, more importantly, is also gone. It might be time to call it here, boys, as this game is just getting worse and worse as time does go on here for the third of Blacklist rivalry. I mean, you talked about Gabby needing to have a good game for his team. I would agree with that sentiment, John. Gabby generally does have a hell of a lot of impact for his side. But on this Darkseer, he has had none of it as a part. We'll have a quick laugh here with his mate. They are friends, of course. This is not BM. But now the tier 3 bottom tower going down onto the racks. And, I mean, Blacklist rivalry, maybe have one more fight in them. They still have a tier 2 top tower, but this game is just so ugly for them at the moment.
They call it?
GG. Yeah, I agree.
Whoa.
So
I don't...
yeah.
I don't think this is the result anyone expected, right? Coming in, Blacklist up against Execration, a 2-0 for Exe.
One person did.
One person didn't say it was. Nakai said didn't say it was. I'm about saying I got one over you, boss. At the end.